Let's take a look at the TI-84 Plus Silver Edition in the MP version, math print version. Now, if you're wondering, well, do you have that or not? Because you can't tell by just looking at the title here. If you do second plus, and you see the about, I do enter on about, you'll see MP on your version. You see how mine says MP? That's math print. Now, that by itself does not necessarily give you what you need for the math print. If you go to mode, when this comes up, you won't go to the second page. So you're going to down arrow until you get to the second page. If you don't have a second page, that means you don't have math print. And you'll see math print and classic. I want math print shows. So if yours isn't already highlighted, your flashing cursor should be on for math print. Press enter one time. And then you do second mode to exit out. And now it's set up for math print. Well, we're going to look at zooming. First one we'll look at is this. Y is equal to x squared minus 5x plus 6. So I'll press y equals, press clear, and then I'm going to do x squared. So I do my x key, and then the x squared, minus 5x plus 6, and then graph. Now you can see a graph comes down, and it comes down a little bit below the x-axis and goes back up. But we can't tell really what's going on there. So let's do a zoom. And we're going to take a look at zoom in, the second one. And to choose that, you can down arrow to it and press enter on it, or you can just press the numbers in front of it. So I'll put 2 for zoom in. Now it doesn't feel like it's done anything. It's waiting for me to position my cursor where I want to zoom in at. So I'll do my right arrow key over, move it about right there. Let me move it up a little bit. And that's what your cursor looks like. Put it back down where it was. And then press enter. And it'll zoom in based upon where your cursor was. So that'll be my new center. Now it's still in zoom in mode. So each time you press enter, say if I press enter one more time, it'll zoom in by another factor. Now you want to wait till it comes back before you get excited and start pressing enter over and over. I'm going to try to get this to hang up. So I'm going to press enter, and I'll press enter again. I'll get it there eventually, maybe. And I'll keep trying. And hang up. There it goes. Ah. Window range. Okay, I'll do enter on quick on that. Let me try zoom in Z standard. The Z standard sets it back to your standard viewing window. And let me try this one more time. Zoom in. Enter. There it goes. Okay, I was trying to get these 4 little dots up here. If you get impatient and you start pressing enter before it comes back, and this is a lot easier to do on a TI-83 since it's slower, you see these 4 dots and it'll keep going forever. It's a never land. It's not coming back. You can wait and wait 2 days and it won't come back. It'll keep going until your battery dies or something happens to electronics. To get it out of this, you press enter one time. Or you can press on. The important thing here, what I'm trying to emphasize, is wait till it comes back before you press enter again. And that's kind of throughout the calculator. Whenever it's gone off and it's processing, wait till it finishes before you get excited. Now again, to set this back to your standard viewing window, you do zoom, and you choose 6 for Z standard. And that sets you back to your standard viewing window. Okay, now that was zoom in. Let's look at another zoom. We'll do zoom, and I want to choose the first one, Z box. So do enter on it. And I'm going to do my up arrow key and left arrow key. And we're putting this, our cursor, in the upper left-hand corner where we want to draw a box. And that's fine right there. So I'll press enter one time. Now I'm going to do a down arrow. And you don't have to keep pressing the buttons over and over. You can sit there and hold down on the button, like I click and hold down on this one. And you see it's drawn a box. Now once you get down to your lower right hand corner of your box, then you want to press enter. And it'll zoom in just what's inside the box. Now I like this method of zooming because it gives you total control over what you want to zoom in on. And now after it's done that, then if you want to set it back to your standard viewing window, you can do zoom and then again 6 for Z standard. And that's zoom box. Now let's take a look at our next one. Our next one is y is equal to x squared minus 400. So press y equals clear x squared minus 400, and then I'll press graph. You see it's processing. When you see a little dashes going up there in the upper right hand corner, it's still working. So you don't want to do anything until it comes back. You can't see anything. Well, let's look at zoom out. So I choose zoom, and I'm going to choose zoom out, the third one. And again, it's not doing anything. It's waiting for me to position the cursor where I want it. And the origin's fine. So I'll just go ahead and press enter one time. And it zooms out by another factor. Well, at this point, you could change over to different zooming. I could choose zoom, and I could choose Z box. And then I could zoom in just on the part I want to look at. Maybe I'm interested in the x-intercepts. So I come over here, right there, and I'll press enter one time. And I'm going to do a down arrow, it's a little bit too much maybe. And then I'll do my right arrow, and I'll hold it down. And I'll get over maybe by right there. So again, I've drawn a box just around the x-intercepts. And if I press enter, it'll zoom in just on those. And so you can combine the zooms together. And again, to set it back, you do zoom, Z standard, 6. Now unfortunately, if you zoom in, zoom out, it'll stay that way from then on. So anything else that you try to graph will have that zoom automatically. That's why you have to get very comfortable with doing a zoom and then 6 for Z standard. That sets it back to your standard viewing window. If I were to design this, whenever you graph something new, I'd automatically set it back to your standard viewing window. Okay, now here's another way. You see the window button? If I press that, see how it goes from -10 to 10 by 1s, -10 to 10 by 1s for my x and my y's. You can manually set this. So I could set this as -30, enter, put in 30, and have it goes by 10s. So I could do my x scale as 10s. Now if I press graph, this leftmost tick mark here is -30, this rightmost is +30. And it's going by 10s. So this is -30, -20, -10, 0, 10, 20, 30. Gives you complete control over what numbers to put in. Now there's a little bit of a danger here. If I go to the window, instead of -30, let me put in 50. Now if I go and do a graph, I get an error. It says window range. Well, if I do enter and quit, the reason why is you can't have your x min larger than your x max. To fix any kind of zooming issues or window settings you've screwed up, press zoom and choose 6 for Z standard. And that fixes all of it back to your standard viewing window. That probably fixes, if I had to guess, 85–90% of the problems that people have with graphing, besides not knowing how to enter it. And that's zooming on a TI-84 Plus Silver Edition Math Print version.